Welcome. My name is Kailey. Oh, it looks like we're a little bit behind the lens there. This is a 15-minute vinyasa practice. When you're ready, you can meet me on your mat. I'm going to start in a seat. If there is a posture that feels like a better place for you to open your practice, please go ahead and settle in there. That might be on the back or on the belly or in child's pose. Massage. Just give yourself some grace to arrive to whatever degree you're able to. You know, some days when I come to my mat, I feel really present pretty immediately, and other days that sense of connection can be a little bit more elusive. Just give yourself some space for whatever's here, including some fur friends if you happen to practice. You might let the eyes soften or close if they're not already. And then just notice the rise and fall of your chest and your belly as you breathe. If you happen to be in child's pose or on your belly, you might bring some more awareness to the sides of the ribs, the back of the ribs. See if you can feel those spaces expand on the in-breath. Spaces relax as you exhale and empty. Wherever you landed, take 2 more deep breaths. Breathing in, letting the chest fill, the ribs expand. Let it go. Grip through the shoulders, perhaps, or the neck. Take 1 more big breath like that. Big exhale when you're ready. You blink the eyes open if they were closed. Meet me on your hands and your knees. Find a tabletop position, the wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And then just circle the shoulders over the wrists a couple times. Continuing to breathe some space into the spine, switch the direction of those circles. Come through the center, tip the tailbone toward the ceiling, drop your chest toward your thumbs. A little bitty cow stretch here, look forward, take a breath in. And then tuck the tailbone as you exhale, push your hands into your mat, chin comes toward your chest. For cat, might feel good to shake your head or nod your head gently. Take it back to cow, inhale, feel the shoulders peeling toward each other on your spine. And then cat as you exhale, so you can broaden out the space between the inner edges of the shoulder blades. 2 more, just moving with your breath here. And feel free to add a little bit of lateral movement into the hips or the head, that would feel good. Come through a neutral spine. Inhale your right or your left. Let's go with left. Inhale your left elbow up and then set that left hand back down. Go right elbow up as you breathe in. Set it back down as you breathe out. Take this side to side. So we're just going to practice some thoracic rotation here. See if you can keep your pelvis relatively still. It's definitely going to be moving a little bit, but try and keep that sacrum, that bone on your lower back, pretty flat. And this way we're going to isolate the movement in the rib cage and that thoracic spine, get some more space around the shoulders. The next time you've got your left elbow lifted, pause, stretch that left arm all the way up and circle through your left arm a couple times. And absolutely keep a bend in the elbow if that feels better. Bring that left arm up, breathe in, and then thread the needle. So working your left shoulder and the left side of your head onto your mat. And stay here with your right hand planted, or you have a lot of options with that right hand. You might reach the fingertips forward. You might corkscrew that right arm. You might even reach the right hand for the left wrist, and then just gently tug that left wrist to the right a bit to bring a little bit more of your body weight on that outer side of the left shoulder. 2 deep breaths here. Your right hand moved. Go ahead and bring that right hand underneath your right shoulder. Push the mat away. Lift the left arm up and then stretch that left leg back behind you. So we're finding a side plank variation. Option again to circle through that left arm if that feels good. Maybe just take that left arm forward. Find a lot of space in left side body. Breathe in. And then bring that left hand and left knee back down. I head on the other side. Right elbow comes up. Inhale, and then thread the needle on this side. Walk your right arm underneath the body. Take a minute when you land to kind of let your body settle into the stretch before you start to maybe add things on. So doing that, we get to add on from a place that's really present and skillful instead of moving from like an autopilot kind of place. So your options are to keep that left hand where it is. Walk the left arm forward to the top of the mat. Sweatshirt is muffling me a lot. Or bend your left elbow and bring that left hand back behind the lower back. Maybe left fingertips working for the inside of the right thigh. Or a new variation that I like is kind of catching the right wrist with the left hand and gently encouraging that right wrist over to the left. You can bring the inhales into the belly. Relax the jaw with your exhales. If your left hand moved, bring it underneath the left shoulder. Push the mat away, open into that side plank variation on this side. Right arm comes up. Maybe you mobilize that right arm. Maybe you just pause and kind of feel into any sensations in that right arm or shoulder. Take another deep breath here. And then downward facing dog this time, but put a big bend in your knees. Big bend in the knees. Heels are probably off the mat. That's fine. Lengthen the spine. Walk the hands a bit closer to the feet. And then go ahead and keep walking. Bend to the knees so that you're in a really nice little kind of happy forward fold back here with the chest on the thighs. You can let the palms turn upright if they touch the floor and just let the shoulders kind of dangle. Keep your toes and your heels down, but start to shift some weight toward the balls of the feet. Play around with straightening out one leg at a time or both legs at a time. And really get tuned into the feedback that your body's giving you. So there's that sweet spot where you're kind of in that interesting, edgy place where the sensation is meaningful, but it's not so intense that it could be injurious. So we want to play that edge where it's interesting for the body. Walk the hands back toward the top of the mat. Let's take it into a high push-up from here. So a little bit more breath coming into the body perhaps here. Push the hands down like you're trying to bury the heels of your hands in sand underneath you. And then also the index finger pad and the thumb pinching into the ground. Shift onto the tiptoes and then lower all the way down, nice and slow. Always feel free to use your knees if you like. We're gonna find a floating cobra here. So arms are gonna come into a W shape. Pull the shoulder blades toward the spine, lift the feet up, and then engage the whole back side of the body. So it's not so much about trying to get super duper arched here as it is about turning on all of those muscles alongside the back of the body. So this extensor set of muscles in the spine, and glutes, and the hamstrings, and the calves. Take a breath in. Plant the hands, stack the toes, high push up as you breathe out. Come back to the belly, floating cobra. It's a long inhale here. High push up as you exhale. Just take the temperature of your body here. One more, floating cobra. Take a breath in. Starting to feel how this practice is gonna go for me. High push up as you breathe out, and then take it to downward facing dog. Shift some weight toward your feet to let the arms have a little bit of a break. Let's take it back to high push-up. Nice long inhale. Lower down as you exhale. Regular cobra or upward facing dog. Breathing in, see if you can still engage those muscles in the back body that we found in that floating cobra. And then downward facing dog as you breathe out. Look at your knees or your navel or your toes. Lengthen the spine here. So push the hands down into the mat to find more space between every vertebra in your back. And then lower just the forearms down. So you're taking it into dolphin pose from here, pushing into the elbows and the inner edges of the forearms. You can absolutely interlace your fingers and press down to that pinky finger side of your forearms, but let the head be free. Drag the shoulders onto the back of your ribs, and then walk the feet a little closer together. Lift just the right leg up. Left heel is lifted. You might start to shift the hips over the shoulders. Core is engaged. For 3, 2, 1, switch legs. If you haven't found your Ujjayi breath, now is a really good place to start to invite that in, breathing powerfully through the nose. Little constriction in the back of the throat for that exhale. Set the left foot down, walk back onto the palms, and then walk your feet to the top of the mat. Halfway stretch, take a breath in as you find some length in the spine. Fold forward on that exhale. And roll up through standing, taking your time, reaching your wrists over your shoulders once you're upright. And then bring your hands to your heart. Let your eyes close for a moment here. Feel your feet on the mat or the floor beneath you. Feel the crown of the head lengthening up. You sense just a millimeter more space in the back of the neck as you push the back of the head gently back so it's in line with the sacrum. Whatever you need for this practice, we'll call it in together just with a breath. So big inhale, drawing that energy in. Open mouth, exhale, offering it up. Blink the eyes open. Sun salutation A, reach the arms up on an in-breath. Fold forward as you exhale. Halfway stretch, breathe in. Plant the hands, step back, rocks forward, lower half or all the way down as you breathe out. Cobra or up dog, inhale as you engage through the back body, push the hands into the mat. Downward facing dog, send your hips back. So we'll just do a couple more of this sun salutation A. Feel free to take it on your own, to add things in, to double up on your chaturangas if you want. I'll cue one more from the top with the heels when you're ready. Look forward, step, walk, or hop your feet to your hands. Halfway stretch, breathe in, fold forward and breathe out. Rise with the inhale, the palm space or touch at the top. Go right back down as you exhale. Halfway lift, finish the breath in. Plant the hands, step or float back to low push-up. Up dog or cobra on the inhale. Maybe you add chaturanga on the exhale on the way to downward facing dog. Hang out in down dog for a breath or a few breaths, and then take 1 or 2 more rounds of this warm-up sequence on your own. Move really deliberately. Can you notice what's maybe arising for your body or for your mind here? Find a way to let your practice be an opportunity to help process or move some energy. When you get to downward facing dog, you can walk, step, or hop back to the top. I'm going to find a chair pose at the top of the mat, any arm variation that you like. So traditional chair pose, you might reach the arms forward. Find a long spine and try and track your biceps by your ears. You might also bring the hands to the heart or play around with the goalpost shape to get a little bit more thoracic extension and scapular rotation going on. Root down into your heels especially. And then hug the legs toward the midline, squeezing in. You're here for 3. Lengthen the sides of the neck for 2. Forward fold on 1. Let that go. Halfway stretch as you breathe in. Let the hands step back, take it through your flow, or go straight into downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, real simple flow today. Reach the right leg up on an inhale. Step the right foot forward as you exhale. Back heel spins down. Find warrior 1 and pause. Use your arms to lift up and then use your feet and legs to really push down and root down. Explore how you might create a little bit more space in your shoulders and your chest. Maybe bring the arms a bit wider or find that goalpost shape. Let's go ahead and find that goalpost shape actually. Bend the elbows, pull the elbows back. Reach the arms up as you take a breath in. And then lightning warrior, tilt the chest forward, sweep the fingers by your side with the palms facing downward. Pressing down into your feet, rooting down into the knife edge of your back foot, digging your right heel down into your mat. A really strong variation of this warrior shape this morning. Stay anchored into your lunge. We're gonna reverse cartwheel it open into reverse warrior. Inhale, right arm comes up. And then cartwheel your hands, step back, flow through your vinyasa, or go straight into downward facing dog. I keep cueing that because I know I'm gonna want that option pretty soon here. From down dog, left leg lifts on an in-breath. Step forward as you exhale. Warrior 1, settle in on this side. You take the lunge a little bit lower, but find a little bit more space in the upper body. So don't be afraid to bring the arms away from the ears. It's gonna give your chest a lot more space. Don't be afraid to use a wall for some balance if you like. Bend the elbows, find that spaciousness in the upper ribs and chest. Pull the arms back and you lean the body back. Reach the arms up on your inhale. Lightning warrior. On an inhale, reverse cartwheel it open. Stretch, stretch, and then cartwheel your hands, step back, flow through your vinyasa. Landing eventually in a downward facing dog. We're gonna add on to that flow. Right leg up on an inhale. Step forward as you exhale. Warrior 1, breath in. Lightning warrior just for the breath out. Reverse warrior, cartwheel it open, pause here. Keep that top elbow lifted, but bring your right hand back behind your head and then re-extend that arm. See if you can bring that arm back a little bit further. So if you have to lean forward, play around with bringing the hand out to the side. What can you do to bring that right hand back behind your head? And then pause with that right hand back behind your neck or your head. You can reach the left fingertips up to catch the right or catch the right elbow with the left hand. Opening up through the right side body, release the top elbow if you caught it, or the fingertips if you caught it, back into your reverse warrior, breathe in. This time find triangle pose, straighten out the front leg, bring your right hand to your right shin, left hand can come to your hip, you come up, or maybe it reaches forward. Maybe you take a breath or two in each variation and figure out what feels best today. Let your right ear drop toward your right shoulder. And then bring your head to whatever alignment feels good today. You could look down, you could look forward, make it up. If it feels available in your body, stretch left arm forward, root down into the knife edge of your back foot. Start to bend your right knee, so we're taking it into kind of an extended side angle posture. Square the chest, bring your left hand to your heart, square the chest toward the mat, and then we're taking it into airplane. So float that left leg up. Hands are at heart center, or they might be in cactus. You might bring the arms to airplane wings or reach forward for Vira 3. If you stretch the arms forward, really wrap the strength of the core around the side body into the lower back. For 3, 2, we're taking it to crescent lunge on 1. Drop the ball of your left foot. Inhale the arms up. And then plant the hands, step back through your vinyasa. From downward facing dog, left side, breathe in. Left foot steps forward. Warrior 1 on the inhale. Lightning warrior, exhale. Reverse warrior, we'll hold here for a few breaths. And just check in with that shoulder mobility and that top arm. So left hand comes back and up. So the shoulders have a lot of range of motion, which sometimes means that they don't have as much stability. So we want to be really mindful about how they're feeling, if we're moving them with awareness. Bring that left hand somewhere behind your head or your neck. You can corkscrew the right fingertips and maybe catch, or reach the right hand for the left elbow. Lean the upper body toward the back, anchoring into the lunge, root down into your left foot. Whatever variation of a bind you found, come back to the unbound reverse warrior. So just straighten out the left leg, adjust your feet as needed, and then find triangle on this side. Find a variation that feels stable today, that lets you feel like you're not efforting a ton, but there's presence and engagement in the body. It's like the difference between gritting your teeth and white knuckling it and just feeling solid here. If that right arm feels okay reaching forward, you can explore that big side body stretch. Keep pressing the knife edge of your right foot down into the mat. Bring the right hand to your heart, square the chest, bend your left knee, I'm slipping today, and then we're going to take it into airplane. Right leg floats. I think those kinds of days where my body's just not feeling quite as strong as it often does, really cool opportunity to actually do the mental part of this yoga practice, which is about acceptance. Right? How can you be supportive for however you're showing up in this moment, whether it's a day where you feel incredible or a day where the energy is like a little bit flagging, or even a day where you just truly don't feel good. What's supportive for you mentally, physically? Can you breathe in a way that's supportive? I'm going to take it into crescent lunge in 3, 2, 1. Right foot drops down, arms come up on an inhale. If you need more, look toward the ceiling. Plant the hands, step back, and flow through. We meet in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we'll put that together, change it up a little bit. We'll start at the top of the mat. In fact, let's start in goddess at the top. So look toward your pinky fingers, step walk or hop the feet to the outer edges of your mat with the toes out and the heels in. Banging a little yogi squat here. You can bring the hands to the heart, or you might keep the fingers down for some support. It feels good to shift the weight from foot to foot. And if the hands are free, go ahead and interlace the fingers and circle around to the wrists. Little wrist release there. So you can switch the direction of those circles. It might feel pretty awkward. Bring the hands to your heart. Push the elbows into the knees. Lengthen through the spine as you breathe in. Hold forward as you breathe out. Heel toe the feet a bit closer together here. Come back into your chair pose on your inhale. And then open arm twist to the right as you exhale. So you get back to chair, breathe in. Open arm twist, go left as you breathe out. Come back to chair on an inhale. Hold forward, exhale. Halfway stretch, breathe in. Plant the hands, step or float it to the back of the mat. Meeting in downward facing dog. Play around with one breath, one motion this time. Right leg lifts on an inhale. Step forward, exhale. Warrior one, breathe in. Lightning warrior, breathe out. Reverse on the inhale, pivot around. Triangle on the exhale. Take the top arm forward, take a breath in. This time we're going to change it up. Try and pyramid, square the chest. Bend the front knee a bit so that you can hop that back foot forward. And then you can choose a different variation. My pyramid variation these days is a nice big bend in the back knee. And then I straighten out the front leg. That may or may not work for some folks' bodies. You might also bring your hands to your front shin or your front thigh and press that right hip crease back to find a little bit of space for that hip hinge. Let the spine kind of waterfall forward over the right thigh here. Start to shift the weight into your front foot. Walk the fingers forward. We're finding standing splits. Does not need to be the biggest range of motion. I'm going for stability today over biggest range of motion. Do what feels supportive in your body. Find a Shiva squat, bringing your left knee to your right calf. Bring your arms into that W or goalpost shape if that feels available. Dig that right foot down, your right knee's bent, legs are active, especially that standing right leg. We're going to take that left knee up and the arms up. Breathe in. Airplane as you breathe out. Stay here for an inhale. Start your transition to crescent lunge on your exhale. Sweep the arms up as you breathe in. Open arm twist as you breathe out. Pause here for a moment. We're going to add on. Reach the left arm up, right hand comes down. So you're in a revolved crescent twist. Twist the chest toward the right. And then maybe you start to peek back over your back shoulder. And stay here or bend the back knee so it's hovering above the mat. Squeeze the muscle to the bone in your glutes, in your left hamstring here. And then see if you can just let that left knee so slowly tap down. Stay for a breath in. We're finding Hanumanasana on the side. Start to straighten out the right leg. Notice the sensation of the stretch in the right leg. You might close the eyes. We'll be here for a few more breaths and see if you can soften some of the parts of the body that aren't being used in this stretch, like the jaw, the eyes. Never feel guilty about relaxing your face while you're working on some other asanas here. Two more long breaths. Can you let go a little bit more to the neck, to the jaw, to the brow? You're ready. Rebend the right knee forward. Walk the hands forward. Left toes tuck under. Dragonfly twist as you lift that right arm up. Spin the chest to the right. Create some space in that twist with your breath. long inhale. Right hand comes down as you exhale. Side plank variation, lower the right knee under the right hip, left arm comes up and open. Breathe in. Bring that left hand down, 3-point high push-up as you breathe out. Right leg kicks back, try and keep the shoulders stacked over the wrists. Right knee down, side plank variation, inhale. Left hand down, exhale, 3-point high push-up. 2 more here, breathe in for your side plank variation. Breathe out for your 3-point high push-up. One more side plank variation, pause here. Stay or lift that left leg up. Stay or reach the left arm forward. Stay or bring the left elbow to the left knee. Stay or keep the left arm and the left leg straight. Bring the hand to the foot. For 4. For 3, stable through your bottom shoulder. 2, take everything long as you breathe in. 3-point high push-up. 3-point high push-up. Stay here or tent the left finger. So there's a lot going on in the right arm. Stay here or reach that left arm forward. For 3, option to bend the right knee, catch the foot with the left hand. 2 and 1. Bring that right knee forward, floating, or sorry, let's say swan, upright swan. So bring that right knee forward without folding forward for a moment. Find a bit of a back bend. And stay here, or maybe you bring one or both hands to the back of your head, interlace the fingers. Point the elbows upward, drop the head into your hands. And then go ahead and find half pigeon, sleeping swan, walking the hands forward. Not the longest hold ever, but do let yourself get comfy. Do let yourself fully arrive in your version of the pose. Two more deep breaths. Walk the hands back up, lift the chest up. We're going to take it into Navasana. Swing your left leg around to the top of the mat. Put the back sides of the knees here. And then with your hands on the back of the knees, lift the chest up. Send the legs forward if that feels comfy in your body today or accessible. Take a breath in as you bring the fingers back behind you. Exhale, bend the knees, sweep the heels in toward your glutes, and then inhale, legs up. Exhale, bend the knees, sweep them in toward your glutes. Inhale, legs up. Let's go for 8 more. So we'll do 10-ish. Not gonna get hung up on how many, actually just moving and breathing from your abdominals. Feel free to play around with that pursed lips exhale. You could also absolutely be holding in your Navasana with bent knees. We're here for 3. Meeting in Navasana in 2. High boat with or without the legs bent. Take it to low boat. Hover the shoulders, hover the heels. Come back to high boat, lift the chest toward the knees, and then back to low boat. Couple more just like this. We're not going to do a ton of abdominals today, but squeeze through your center to lift the heart toward the knees for 3. 2. Hold it in high boat on 1. Cross the ankles. Plant the hands. Step or hop back to chaturanga. And we'll lead up in downward facing dog. So core is nice and toasty. Left leg goes high on an inhale. Step forward as you empty. Warrior 1, breathe in. Lightning warrior, breathe out. Reverse warrior, forgot where we were going, inhale. And then triangle on this side. Take that top arm forward, little pause or changing it up here. As you square the chest, bring that hand down, bend the front knee so you can slide your right foot forward for your variation of pyramid. Totally valid to bend one or both knees. And some of the fundamentals of this posture, we're trying to create a hinge through the hip as opposed to rounding in the spine. So sometimes in order to do that, it'd be helpful to actually have a piece of furniture and to send that left hip crease back without hinging forward, like folding through that hip crease as opposed to rounding through your spine. This way we're actually targeting hamstring instead of spinal flexors, which for most of us, our spinal flexors are already pretty stretchy from our forward folding, just natural kind of postural habits that we have. Breathe into the sensation of the stretch. We'll start to shift into standing splits. Walk the hands forward. Weight comes into the left foot, right leg lifts. Find your balance without locking that left knee. Bring your right knee to your left calf. Big bend through that standing knee now. Hands can be under shoulders. It can be to your heart, or you bend the elbows out to the side. Draw in through your navel center. Wrap that straight around the side of the waist into the lower back. And then when you're ready, push into the left foot. Right knee comes up, arms come up, finding your balance here. Fly it back to airplane. Slow motion, drop the ball of the right foot. We're in crescent lunge with your inhale. Open arm twist to the left. Pause, feel your shoulders over the hips, or maybe slide it back a little bit. Reach that right arm up, left hand comes down. Keep the shoulders over the hips, tuck the tailbone a bit as you start to lower that back knee to a hover. Hold it there for 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knee, breathe in. Circle the hands around your front foot. Hanumanasana on this side. So same principles of that pyramid posture. You can see my spine rounding a bunch here. I'm going to try and take that bump out of the back and hinge forward through the hip. There's nothing wrong with that kind of cat back shape, that spinal flexion shape. But if we really do want to stretch the back of the left leg, we have to hinge at the hip and keep the spine a little bit flatter. So you can hone back in on your breath, right, through a lot of kind of anatomical stuff at us in these postures, which can, at least for me, get me in my head pretty quickly. See if you can come back to your body, if that was the case for you. Where do you feel the stretch? 2 more deep breaths. And then get into a dragonfly twist. Take your time, right hand anchors under your right shoulder, lift the right knee and the left arm. Strong through that back leg, and then spiral the chest, the breastbone toward the left. Breathe in. Bring that left hand down, left knee under left hip, side plank variation. Right arm comes up. Exhale, right hand comes down, 3-point high push up. Pushing the heels of the hands into the mat underneath your shoulders. Drop the left knee, inhale the right arm. Drop the right hand, exhale the left leg. 2 more, breathe in. Breathe out. Again, inhale, pause here. Stay or lift the right leg. Stay or reach the right arm forward. Option 1 from here is to bend elbow to knee in front of you. Option 2 is to keep those limbs straight. Either way, push the left hand down, keep that left shoulder stable. 3, 2, take everything long on 1. We're taking it back to that 3-point push-up. Left toes are floating, right fingertips tense. Maybe you reach that right arm forward. Maybe you bend the left knee and catch that foot. 4, 3, 2, pigeon pose on 1. Bring the left knee forward. Sink the hips down. Let the chest lift. Probably some sensation in the arms. Interlace your hands at the base of your head. Drop the head into your hands. Point the elbows up. As if you could use your hands to kind of traction the base of the skull up away from those uppermost vertebra. And some space there. And then when you're ready, pigeon pose, sleeping swan. Breathe into the belly, the chest, and maybe even the collarbones. And as you exhale, allow the hips to get a little heavy. And feel the muscle is starting to melt away from the bone, the outer edge of the left thigh. One more cycle of breath. And start to walk the hands back, shift the weight to the left. We've got Navasana once more, reaching for the back of the knees. I'm going to do a little knee tuck variation. Reach the arms up, stretch the legs out. You can keep the chest lifted for more, lean back a bit more. And then as you reach the arms forward, hug the knees into the chest. So you can reach for the outer edges of the feet with your hands. Inhale, take it open into high boat or even low boat. Exhale, squeeze in. 3 more, breathe in, breathe out. We're gonna hold the last one, hold. Hover it into a low boat if you can. Push the low back down, draw the navel in. So if you're doming through your abs here, come up a little bit. 3, flutter kick for 2. And 1, feet down, hips up, bridge pose, lift the hips. Feel into some space in the front of the hips, hip flexor muscles, tuck the tailbone just a bit toward the knees. Lower the hips down. Reach the arms back up over your head as you breathe in. 1 more bridge, lift the hips, bridge or wheel, if that feels like a good idea. We could do some shoulder mobility. So if wheel is part of your practice, you can experiment with that, explore if today's one of those days where it feels good to find that extension through the upper spine as well as the lower body here. If wheel's not in your practice or today's a day where it doesn't feel so great, no big deal. You're in bridge with me, and it would feel good to reach your fingertips for your ankles or your heels. Send the chin away from the chest, relax the eyes. 2 more deep breaths. Gently lower everything down. Walk the feet toward the edges of your mat. Turn the toes in, let the knees drop against one another. You can bring your hands to your belly or out to your sides. Just releasing through the pelvis and the low back. Take a couple breaths. And walk the soles of the feet together. Let the knees drop toward the edges of your mat. Your Baddha Konasana. A couple more breaths here. Use your hands to help the knees together. Draw the right knee into your chest. You can stretch the left leg out on the mat in front of you. And then make some small circles with your right knee. Bring the left hand to the left hip. So tiny little circles with that right knee. Right knee's pointing toward the ceiling. Just the direction of those little circles. Feel how the right thigh bone is moving in the socket there. It feels good to take bigger circles, go for it. We're set up for a spinal twist. Drop that right foot down. Go ahead and roll onto the outer edge of your left hip. Outer edge of the left hip. Bring your left hand to your right knee. And then bend the left knee so that knee is pointing forward toward the top of the mat. Left foot comes back. Reach down with your right hand to catch the left foot. It's called cat pulling its tail sometimes. If you don't quite reach the left foot, not a problem at all. You can always just ditch that and pick the left leg long on the mat again. Or just keep the left knee bent so you're getting that little quad stretch. Stay here or extend the right leg out toward the left, moving your left hand to the outer edge of the right foot. And just notice if it's possible to ungrip a bit. Jaw, the brow, places where so many of us have chronic tension. Just for a few moments while you're on your mat for the rest of this practice, is it possible to find a little bit of space in those areas to let some of that energy flow, find some balance? Gently release the right foot or knee, release the left foot. Back to the center, pause and take a couple of breaths just in neutral. Again, bringing the feet to the edges of the mat and the knees in. It's time to shift the hips to the left. Bring that right leg long on the mat underneath you, rolling to the outer edge of the right hip, bend the right knee. Catch the foot with your left hand, and then right hand catches left foot. The wall in the way. So that might feel kind of good if you do have something you push the left foot into, a piece of furniture or a wall that's just in the right spot, and then you can apply a little bit of pressure to roll actually onto that left shoulder a bit more. When you're ready, release that spinal twist. You can take a couple breaths in butterfly or teepee pose or come right into Shavasana. Just observing when you do have that pelvis back in neutral, that rebound sensation after really all of your practice, but that spinal twist, especially noticing that kind of unspiraling through the pelvis and the hips, lower back, through the ribs. Consider what you might be able to let go while you're here. Physically, is there some holding that the body's doing that you might be able to surrender? Just letting the body be held here. Is there a persistent kind of thought pattern or emotional tone that maybe just isn't serving you in this moment? Set up with the affirmation that it's possible to let go, even just a little bit, of some of those stories or some of those thought patterns. We'll be here for just about 30 to 45 seconds together. Let go of the breath, but continue to notice that ebb and flow of energy moving through the body as you breathe in and out. your head a really gentle nod side to side. Nice and slow, just moving the neck side to side. Start to wiggle the fingers and toes, or circle the ankles and wrists. Take your time to press up to a seated position. Bringing your hands to your heart, either in Anjali Mudra or actually making like that kind of seal with the palms around the heart space itself. Close practice with one more big cleansing breath. So whatever it is that you were looking to get from your practice, make yourself real open to receive it. And then with a big breath in, fill the lungs, let the ribs lift, let the shoulders hunch up into the ears. See if you can sip in just a little bit more breath. Open your mouth, let it go. Thanks for spending some time with me and my wobbly body this morning. Take care of yourselves.